Guys, it's me again, and here we go in with the countries for today. First of all, we're on Kenya. So yeah, it is, as the earliest inhabitants of Kenya were hunter-gatherers from about 2000 BC. The people began herding, and in about 800 AD, the Arabs sailed to Kenya. Some settled and intermarried, and they created the Swahili culture along the coast. As the first Europeans to reach Kenya came in 1498 and under Vasco da Gama, and subsequently the Portuguese dominated the coast of Kenya for 2 centuries. However, like in Tanzania and all, they didn't exactly go inland. The Portuguese brought new crops to Kenya, known as maize and cassava. And in the late 19th century, the British came along, and in 1883 Joseph Thomas was sent to map Kenya, and in 1855 European powers divided up Africa between themselves at the Berlin Conference, and Kenya was allocated to Britain. At first, Kenya was administered by the Imperial British East Africa Company, which was formed in 1887, but in 1895 the British government took responsibility for Kenya. In years between 1895 and 1901, the British built a railway across the region. In the early 20th century, while settlers flocked to Kenya, taking the best land, and while those native to Kenya were forced onto reservations. The Indians also came to Kenya and formed the middle class or traders kind of thing, and naturally those native there were resentment of their treatment, and in 1921 they formed the East African Association to fight for their rights. As 3 years later, in 1924, it changed its name to Kikuyu Central Association, and in 1927 Jomo Kenyatta became its secretary. Meanwhile, schools were founded in Kenya and Africans became better educated, and many of them fought during the Second World War. Well, as soon as it ended, they were kind of treated as second-class citizens again, and resentment eventually boiled over into Mau Mau uprising as the Mau Mau formed in 1952, and it took a secret oath to kill Europeans and African collaborators. And in 1952, a state of emergency was declared in Kenya, as British troops were sent to deal with the insurgency. In 1953, the British began detaining Kikuyu in concentration camps. So the British hunted down the insurgents, and by the end of 1956 the uprising was over. But the move towards independence was pretty much unstoppable. And in 1961 an African political party, Kenyan African National Union, was formed. And in May 1963 they won a majority of seats in the Kenyan Assembly, and they finally became independent on the 12th of December 1963. And in 1964 Jomo Kenyatta became president of Kenya, and Kenya joined the Commonwealth. In the late 60s and 70s were kind of years of prosperity for Kenya, as agriculture had been developed quickly. But Kenyatta died in 1978, and Daniel Arap Moi then became leader of Kenya. In 1882 he banned opposition political parties, and in 1887 he changed the constitution of Kenya to strengthen his powers. but in the 90s he faced growing opposition, and in 1991 Moi was forced to allow other political parties to form in Kenya. Despite the opposition, he was re-elected in 1992 and 1997. Then in 1998 a bomb exploded in the US Embassy in Nairobi, whereas the explosion killed 224 people, and for a short time it had had a devastating effect on tourism in Kenya, but it didn't exactly stop them coming back, as it soon returned. And in 2002 Mwai Kibaki became leader of Kenya, and in 2003 he introduced free primary education. However, in 2009 northern Kenya suffered a drought. However, today the economy is starting to grow rapidly again, and Kenya is developing fast, and there is kind of like a reason to be optimistic about the future. And in 2013 Uhuru Kenyatta became president of Kenya, and the population is about 48 million or so. And moving on to languages, as Kenya is an ethnically diverse country and is made up of about 40 main ethnic groups. As a diverse ethnic composition makes the country a multilingual country, as many languages are being used within the borders, but Swahili and English are the two official languages recognised by law, as there are other major regional languages in the country, with two of the most widely spoken being Kikuyu and Luhya. Swahili is used as the lingua franca by most people in the country, as Swahili is also recognised as the official language in the African Union and East African Community. Regional bodies of Kenya as Kenya is a member of. As it's used most by the coastal regions of the country. Yes, I won't go into it too much, as I have already done it somewhat. But there are numerous dialects of Swahili which exist in Kenya and along the Kenyan coast, include Kivumba, native to the southern coast, Mambrui, native to Malindi, and Kimvita, native to Mombasa, as the Swahili language is incorporated and it's into Kenyan education system, and is a mandatory subject taught at high school levels of education. As use of Swahili in Kenya is regulated by the Chama cha Kiswahili cha Taifa, a government body based in Nairobi. Sorry if I botched that. English is the other language which is recognised by law as an official language in Kenya, as it was introduced to Kenya after becoming a British colony in the 19th century. It's the primary language used in formal conversation in the country, and is also a language used in the drafting of legal documents and during court proceedings. It took me fair enough silence if you heard that. English has a few native speakers in the country, but most of whom are expatriates from England or the US speak it. However, the language is used as a lingua franca by millions of Kenyans who most reside in the country's urban areas. As English is a common language used in print and electronic media, as the Kenyan education system is primarily based on English, with the language being used as the language of instruction in all the main subjects except Swahili. And then there's Kikuyu, which is a major regional language of the country, as the language is a native language among members of a Kikuyu ethnic group who reside in the central region of the country, as there's estimated 7 million native Kikuyu speakers. In Kenya, who account for 22% of the country's population, like Swahili, Kikuyu is also categorized as a Bantu language under the Niger-Congo language group, as the language is made up of 4 geographically defined dialects, which are the Kirinyaga dialect, the Kimbu dialect, the Moranga dialect, and the Nyeri dialect. Yeah. There is another major regional language spoken within Kenya, as it is native to the Luhya ethnic group. Sorry about that. That's me. It is found in the west of the region of the country, as the total number of speakers is estimated to be 1.2 million people, as there are 6 main dialects to the language: Hanga East Naila, Marama, Kabras, Soso, and Kisa. The Soso one is spelled TSO kind of thing. And moving on to legends, going on about a Luo warrior called Lawanda Magere, as he was a Luo warrior who guided those in fighting their enemies, who were the Kalajins, in wars a long time ago. Because he belonged to the Sidho clan of Kanu, as the Kalajins were fought him but kept on losing until the leaders sat down and came up with a possible solution for defeating Luanda Magere, who appeared to have unrealistic powers when it came to war, as the Nandi people, included the leaders, concluded that they would give Luanda Magere a beautiful woman from their clan to marry, as they selected the most beautiful girl and sent her to Luanda. However, Luo leaders urged him not to accept the girl, but Luanda went ahead and married her. And one day it happened that Luanda Magere fell sick, and because his first wife was away, his second wife from the Kalajin community had to find medicine for him. She went for the medicine, and when she came back, Luanda instructed her to cut out his shadow from an eye and steal the medicine. She was surprised when she saw the shadow bleeding. During the night, she secretly left Luanda's home and went back to her community, where she received with joy. She narrated to them that his shadow had flesh and was a point of his weakness, as Luos knew that the Kalajins would not attack him again after giving them the woman. However, they broke into war when war still happened, as with Luos, but Luanda was still so terrible to them. He fought and killed many of them. And when Luanda tried to escape, one of the Nandi warriors remembered Luanda had powers within his shadow, and he went to a hill. He threw a spear into Luanda's shadow and he fell down, and so Luanda died that day, and his body turned into smooth stone. This stone is now a tourist site, said to be a tourist site, along the river Nyando in Mahurani constituency. And yeah, that is Kenya for you, so yeah. Bye for now, and I'll see you very shortly.